Our first clip comes from a TikTok account called Native Queen 97 and features Ring doorbell footage recorded late at night. In the video, the homeowner walks outside, apparently to check on something, maybe the trash cans or his car parked nearby. Things seem completely ordinary at first, but something deeply unsettling is unfolding just behind him. See for yourself what the camera picked up. Right at this moment, if you look carefully, a strange figure can be spotted making its way along the sidewalk. It appears pale and almost see-through, barely distinguishable from the surrounding darkness as it drifts past. Then, just as quickly as it showed up, it seems to disappear entirely. For many who've watched this, the way the shape fades out suggests it's less like a real, solid person and more like something that doesn't quite belong in the physical world, like a spirit slipping through the scene without anyone noticing. Of course, there's another explanation. It could simply be another person walking by, with the Ring camera's night vision processing, washing them out and making them look partially transparent. Compression artifacts and motion blur have a way of creating the illusion that someone is vanishing when they're really just stepping out of frame. Regardless of the explanation, spotting something like that drifting behind you only to seemingly blink out of existence moments later would shake just about anyone. It's the type of footage that leaves you questioning what's lurking just beyond your line of sight. Carlos is convinced his home is under some kind of curse, so he keeps his camera running around the clock in search of evidence. This particular footage was recorded upstairs during one of his regular walkthroughs. He moves through the quiet, but tonight, that quiet didn't last long, as though whatever lurks in that house had already been anticipating his arrival.
Hola amigos de TikTok. Al parecer se fue la luz en toda la colonia Amixes. O sea, vean, literalmente no hay nada de luz alrededor, más que hasta allá se ven unos puntitos. Empecé a grabar porque se empezaron a escuchar ruidos como siempre. Se escucha algo.
Just across the hall, an object sitting beside the ring light was hurled to the ground with shocking force. No wires, no breeze, nothing visible at all. Just what looked like an unseen presence tearing it away. Given everything this home has been through, Carlos didn't need any convincing. Something restless was making itself known, staking its claim over every inch of that space. Late one night, a man came back from working the overnight shift and felt something press into him as he stepped through his front door. Exhausted, he didn't think much of it and moved on. But when he pulled up the footage from his Ring camera a little later, what he saw made his blood run cold. Something had absolutely shown up on that recording, something completely invisible to him in the moment. Could that have been whatever shoved him? What comes next is a chilling piece of footage recorded by a man who goes by Connor. According to him, he lives in an area where break-ins and burglaries are a regular occurrence. Late one night, while he was home alone and fast asleep, he was jolted awake by a loud crash. His first instinct was that someone had broken in, so he got up to check. But what he found waiting for him was something far worse than any intruder.
Cops! No!
Connor went through every room, every corner, and turned up nothing. Then, out of nowhere, an unseen force sent a knife flying straight toward him with violent intent. Completely terrified, Connor bolted from the house without looking back.
No!
He'd braced himself for the possibility of a burglar, but whatever was actually in that house was something else entirely. So tell us, how do you explain what happened here? Aspergatra runs a YouTube channel centered around solo camping trips in isolated, off-the-beaten-path locations. Spending nights alone out in the wild is nothing new to him. It's the entire foundation of what his channel is about. But on this particular outing, he picks a spot that the locals have warned him to stay away from. He heads deep into a forest, far removed from any signs of civilization, and pitches his tent with only the bare essentials. Just behind his campsite flows a river, and that river carries a grim history. Years ago, a mother and her young child were pulled under by the current and never made it out. Ever since that tragedy, people in the area insist the place is haunted, claiming that once the sun goes down, strange things begin to unfold. Night settles in, the hours tick by, and everything around him seems calm, until he hears something that stops him cold. He sweeps his flashlight across the surrounding darkness, circling the tent and scanning the tree line, but there's nobody out there, and absolutely nothing to account for the voice he just heard. Shaken but worn out, he eventually forces himself to lie down and rest, only to be snapped awake at 2 a.m. by something else entirely. What he encounters matches the description of a kuntilanak, a malevolent female spirit deeply rooted in Indonesian folklore. Masby barely gets a moment to register what he's looking at before sheer terror takes hold. He scrambles back inside his tent, the camera still capturing everything. He appears to be desperately pleading for some kind of protection, even as the wailing continues to ring out beyond the tent walls. Then the footage cuts off without warning. Whether he stuck it out until morning or fled into the night remains a mystery. But those who've watched the video believe the warnings about that river were well-founded, and that the mother who lost her life there so many years ago has never truly moved on.
Heard you.
Over the course of several months, a man kept noticing something deeply unsettling occurring inside his home during the late night hours. Nearly every single night, he could hear the sound of heavy footsteps rising up from the basement, as though someone was deliberately pacing back and forth on the stairs. Growing increasingly disturbed, he pulled out his phone and began filming near the basement door. What showed up on that footage was enough to make your skin crawl.
Stuff being moved. You hear it? So anyways, I'm just going. You hear it sounded like someone walking up down the steps. But anyways, I'm going down and I've decided to videotape it to have proof for my wife. She doesn't believe me. All right, here we go. Hello. I know I hear you down here. I know I heard you. Holy, oh my, dude. I just saw, holy man, holy.
A dark, shadowy shape appeared to drift briefly through the stairwell before dissolving completely into the blackness beyond. Shaken to his core, the man later said he simply couldn't bring himself to remain in that house. Around 6 months later, he returned online with an update. His family had packed up and relocated, yet he was convinced that whatever had been haunting them had made the journey too. And here's where things get even harder to explain.
Happening to me lately, just in our new house, I moved, and tonight by just stuff is happening. My dog is acting nuts, and on the charger, battery's at 15%. But anyways, just having weird stuff happening, dog flipping out, and since we've been moving here, that the whole house kind of just has been getting crazy. I remodeled kitchen, did everything. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That object in the background was moving entirely by itself, with no apparent cause. So what on earth could account for it? Whatever this thing was, it clearly wasn't finished with this man. Let us know in the comments. What do you think it could be? But this guy had just become a new dad, and like any parent looking out for their kid, he set up a camera to keep an eye on his little one. Then one night, while his baby was restless in the crib, that camera picked up something that'll send a chill straight down your spine. Out of nowhere, on the far side of the room, something showed up that had absolutely no business being there. What looked like a small toddler wandered into the frame, paused, and seemed to glance around the room. This tiny figure lingered for a moment before backing away and vanishing entirely from view. Now at first, nothing about this footage seems off, until it hits you that this man has only one child, an infant sleeping in a crib. So the big question is, just who or what was that little figure walking around on the other side of the bed? The videos you're about to see all come from the account displayed on screen. This particular creator doesn't have many uploads, but the ones they do have are mostly security camera recordings taken inside a hospital. Hospitals tend to carry a certain kind of weight. They've witnessed so much pain and loss over the years. So it's really not hard to understand why so many people think those emotions can leave something behind. The first clip was recorded in the hospital's laundry room, where a staff member arrived to find all the washing machines had been shifted out of position. Baffled by what they saw, they pulled up the security footage to get some answers, and here's what the cameras had captured.
Oh, Andrew. No way. No way. Jim.
Send me the video when you.
Oh, I'm gonna.
The best is when the other one comes over. It's like it didn't want to see the front of it, you know. That's why
Yeah.
It's fun so that he didn't have to look at it no more. Whoever's in that room. Oh my God.
Jim.
Madeline, you just come and look at the second one. Here comes the second one. No, the second one's moving now.
No way.
Watch the second one. Then the second one falls off. And the lady comes in from Do Die Night. She don't know what to say. She was like,
She was on FaceTime with somebody.
look, watch the second one. Any second now.
It happens.
Look, here goes.
It
Look,
happens.
Look.
This does not happen.
look. The ghost. Look.
Look at it.
Who's spinning it?
It's spinning.
It's spinning the cycle. It's got to be spinning.
No
There's no
way.
way
It's
that
not
they
bolted
spin.
out?
There's no way. I don't care if it's bolted or not. They don't spin like that. Mine ain't bolted in my house. Mine don't come and walk around my living room. Look.
Look.
That's true.
Look.
How that one just came out. How'd it come out like that?
Mm-mm.
That was pushed out. I don't
Yep.
care what nobody says. You can tell me whatever you want.
Me too. I can't wait to show everybody.
Look, here, wait.
Where's Keith?
Show them the thing. Look, here. Look at this. Look at the top.
No way.
There's a ghost here.
No way.
I'm showing them the ghost in the back. The ghost? Oh, did you ever see what happened last night? Forgot about it. The laundry
We'll
room.
die.
They'll die. The laundry, all the laundry things are there. They just start moving. They just start coming out and moving and going in circles and what you call it.
No.
Come and look. Yeah, but it's crazy.
Every single machine appears to be moving on its own, despite the room being completely empty. And the uploader is quick to point out that this is far from an isolated incident. Strange occurrences like this have reportedly been documented in multiple areas throughout the building.
Everything else is everything is correct. Yeah. We are not. We're a private hospital, for-profit hospital with
Eric is the right man at the right time. I'm not sure about the rest of the political establishment in New York State. So Bill Brandt supporting Eric
You need to speak the medical record. You need to cause a reference to.
DA Alvin Bragg is going to live up to the challenge. Well, you know, it's funny, Eric.
One moment, okay?
What reduces crime because the American police officer delivered historic crime prior to.
Here, employees going about their shift in the hallway are left stunned when a trolley at the far end begins rolling toward them with no one anywhere near it. Then, on a separate occasion entirely, the security system picked up yet another moment that's hard to explain away.
And it really boils down to whether or not, if a private equity firm, you can pick the name, offered Twitter 54.20 a week ago, we'd probably be talking about a done deal today.
Right, exactly. And again, that's what the politics are. You know, again, as you said, we changed earlier, Charles, and you pointed out that, you know, just after Trump got elected, the Twitter stock price went
$16 on inauguration day. The quarter that his last quarter as president, the earnings report came out in February. Stock went up 13% that day, 24% that week, went in the mid-70s, and it's never been that high again.
There's nobody in the hallway and the door open.
The door on the left swings open on its own. It's possible somebody was standing just out of frame on the other side, but the person who posted this footage believes it's one more piece of evidence pointing to something beyond explanation within these hospital walls. So where do you stand on all of this? Could there be a rational reason behind these movements? Or are we looking at something genuinely paranormal? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. The next clip comes from a group of friends vacationing together in Spain. Here, you can see them riding an elevator that keeps bringing them to the 16th floor against their will.
So it's been doing this for a minute, and there's nothing out there. Are we too heavy? You're too heavy. Ah, yeah, Sergio. Ascensor. Man, you've been hit. You need to hit that gym.
This is 1588 kilogram. What's going on?
You wanna
Yeah.
figure it out?
Yeah.
Hey, no, that did something.
No. Dude, Amarona? I don't know. Leona.
What is going on?
Are we too heavy? Is there someone there? What the?
This particular level has been closed off for ongoing construction, and no hotel guests are supposed to have access to it whatsoever. At first glance, it looks like a weird isolated glitch, but it turns out several staff members have reported the exact same thing happening. The elevator appears to be drawing people up to this unlit 16th floor on its own.
So this elevator is acting mad weird. We started a few floors up, and
Then the very next day, they step into that same elevator again, and what unfolds is nothing short of terrifying.
So the power is out. The backup, yeah, there you go. The backup generator's been coming on and off. We've been having the time of our lives. And yeah, we're like...
The elevator suddenly stops dead in its tracks, and everything goes pitch black. A power outage had knocked out electricity across that part of Spain. While they sat trapped inside, the backup generator eventually kicked in, but it wasn't working as it should, causing the lights to strobe erratically on and off. With nowhere to go and nothing to do, the friends start goofing around to kill time, and that's when something absolutely chilling appears on camera.
Oh. Oh, he's cooking something.
What are you doing?
Yep. Yep.
I gotta pee.
Oh, you gotta pee.
It's making my bladder.
I
gotta pee.
You gotta pee.
Well, like the rappers. Go. I gotta pee. I'm holding my bladder.
Yep.
I gotta pee. I don't know what else is going on. I gotta pee. It's making me mad. Going like so. I gotta pee. Angry like Bowser.
Guys, this is...
Just over the shoulder of one of the guys, a small dark shape resembling a dog can be spotted in the corner of the elevator, slowly creeping upward. Nobody in the group noticed it in the moment, only catching it when they reviewed the footage afterward. This left them convinced that some kind of unknown presence was behind everything they'd experienced, a belief that only grew stronger once they finally got free. Pay close attention to what happens next.
We're moving.
Thank you.
Where are we going?
Wait.
Stop. No.
That's the same one as before.
Bizarrely, after spending several hours trapped inside, the elevator springs back to life and carries them directly to the 16th floor, opening its doors into complete darkness. After being stuck for so long, they were simply relieved to escape and bolted for the stairwell the moment they heard something unsettling stirring on that floor. A lot of viewers believe the shadowy figure is some kind of entity that dwells on the 16th floor, deliberately drawing people up there for reasons unknown. But honestly, your guess is as good as anyone's. Either way, this is... Anyone who works in security has my genuine respect. It takes a certain kind of courage. This footage, for example, was recorded by a school surveillance camera at 2 in the morning. Now, I don't know about you, but even as a kid who genuinely enjoyed going to school, there is absolutely no universe in which I would have stuck around until 2 a.m. So whoever, or whatever, this is, a student seems pretty unlikely. And the more you watch the footage, the clearer it becomes that this isn't a child. The security guard on duty is convinced he was looking at a ghost, and honestly, it's hard to argue with him. He never mentioned whether he actually went to investigate, and that silence alone tells you everything. He says the building was completely locked down at the time, and he was certain none of his co-workers were on the premises. When he posted the clip online, the paranormal community was fully on board, until security professionals and technical experts started flooding the comments with a different explanation. Their theory, image ghosting, which, despite sharing a name with the supernatural, is something else entirely. Apparently, it comes down to outdated recording equipment, and that detail has left people pretty split on the whole thing. But I'll let you make up your own mind. Now, next clip, we see a nanny alongside a young girl who's peacefully playing with her toys. Just a few minutes before he started filming, she had told him something that genuinely unsettled him, and that's exactly why he pulled out the camera. He wanted her words on record. Judge for yourself what to make of them.
You told me earlier about your doll.
When I play hide and seek with my doll, it moves.
You said it moves?
Yeah.
That doll? This doll?
Yeah.
You said it moves?
Yeah.
Like you move it, or? When does it move?
When I play hide and seek with her.
When you play hide and seek?
According to the little girl, a particularly creepy doll apparently moves on its own, but only during a game of hide and seek. She's only 5 years old, so maybe it's pure imagination, but the nanny couldn't let it go without investigating. Curiosity won out, and he decided to actually play hide and seek with the doll while keeping the camera rolling the entire time.
We're playing hide and seek. Oh my god!
At one point, something gave him a sudden shock, and he later admitted he'd much rather have been startled by a dog than by a doll with a reputation for coming alive. Thankfully, he noted, the doll didn't appear to move at all, at least not during that session. On the surface, the evening looked completely quiet, nothing unusual, nothing paranormal, but later that same night, things took a deeply unsettling turn. The nanny had just tucked the 5-year-old into bed when he spotted something odd.
The dog has been staring at the doll. Looking at it. I'm kind of freaked out right now.
For no apparent reason, the dog had locked its gaze on the doll, completely motionless, just staring, and from across the room, as though it didn't dare get any closer. Given everything the girl had said, that moment carried a heavy, uncomfortable weight. But what the camera caught a few hours later was far worse. While the nanny was drifting off to sleep in another room, a faint noise suddenly broke the silence from the living room. Worth noting, that's exactly where the doll had been left. He jolted awake and immediately hit record. Take a look at what the footage shows. One of the electronic toys in the room switched itself on without anyone touching it. Right beside it lay that same familiar doll. It appeared completely motionless at first, but that didn't hold for long. On closer inspection, you can watch the doll slowly raise its head, almost as though it's trying to meet the camera's gaze, before suddenly dropping lifelessly to one side. Overwhelmed by sheer terror, the nanny bolted straight out of the house. It really does seem as though that doll came to life. There's no update to the story as of yet, but it isn't difficult to imagine the kind of night that man had. Traveler was making his way back to his hotel in the late hours of the night somewhere in Peru when his camera picked up a figure lurking at the edge of the road, pale, humanoid, and completely motionless in the darkness. The creature bore a striking resemblance to what witnesses typically describe as a skinwalker, and the tourist later admitted that if it had decided to give chase, things could have gone very differently. Man living by himself in a modest apartment has filled every available surface with religious objects, crosses, scripture passages, and handwritten prayers tucked into nearly every corner. From the outside, it might look like extraordinary faith, but the truth is, his relentless praying started after something deeply unsettling happened to him. Shortly after visiting the grave of his deceased father, he became convinced that something had made the journey back with him. In the beginning, the signs were easy to dismiss. Faint sounds in the middle of the night, household items that weren't quite where he'd left them. Then one afternoon, he was jolted awake from a nap by a sharp metallic sound, and he immediately grabbed his phone and hit record. Here's what the camera picked up.
Estoy grabando este video porque estoy tratando de dormir, pero acabo de escuchar un golpe duro por allá en la sala, entonces decidí grabar porque hace días que se viene presentando cosas extrañas en el apartamento. Son las 4:13 minutos de la tarde, entonces me parece muy extraño que hasta ahora están sucediendo como cosas raras. Entonces, miren, ese es mi comedor. Tengo las ventanas cerradas, miren. Esto viene sucediendo hace como una semana ya. Pues la verdad se me hace muy extraño.
Kitchen utensils were swaying on their own, gently but unmistakably. No windows were open. There was no draft, just an eerie stillness. A few days passed and things got worse. While filming himself in prayer, he turned his words directly toward whatever he believed was sharing his space and demanded it go.
En el nombre de Jesús te ordeno que te vayas. En el nombre de Jesús ordeno que te vayas. No tienes derecho de estar aquí. Ordeno que te vas. Ordeno que te vas en el nombre de Jesús.
Leave, he commanded. Leave in the name of Jesus. But that wasn't the end of it. Several nights later, around 3 in the morning, both he and his girlfriend were jolted awake by a commotion coming from the kitchen. See for yourself what they walked into.
Bueno, voy a grabar este video porque nuevamente se están escuchando en el apartamento ruidos. Son las 3 de la mañana con 16 minutos y... Escucha. Se llama así, se escucha. Es en la sala. Sí. Escucha. Esta vez no estoy solo, esta vez estoy con mi novia que por fin decidió venir a acompañarme, pues estaba asustada debido a todas estas cosas que están pasando. ¿Dónde es eso, no? La cocina. ¿Qué fue eso? ¿Te ayudó? Yo voy a mirar. ¿Qué es aquí, amor? ¿Qué es aquí? Señor bendito. Amor, ¿qué es acá? ¿Qué es acá? Yo voy solo, amor. No. Prenda la luz, Déjalo tranquilo por acá. En el nombre de Jesús, manifiéstate. Parece que en la cocina. En el nombre de Jesús, manifiéstate. Vaya para el cuarto, amor.
No.
¿Qué fue eso? ¿Estás bien, amor? ¿Estás bien? Vamos a la cocina. Cuidado con la cocina. Manifiéstate en el nombre de Jesús. Te ordeno que te manifiestes. ¿Qué fue lo que sonó así ahorita, no?
Una cocina.
Mira, no, puede ser una mentira esa, ¿no? Es un vaso. Es un vaso. Mira todos los carbones que están abiertos.
Wind chimes were swinging violently, and objects had been thrown across the floor. There was no sign that anyone had broken in. What made it worse was that his girlfriend immediately began feeling physically ill. Then came the moment that shook him to his core. Deep in the night, thundering footsteps came barreling toward him through the darkness. This is the moment everything changed. Before he had any chance to respond, something invisible hit him with force. Nobody was in that room, and yet something absolutely was. He hasn't stopped praying since, because whatever came home with him that day at the cemetery never left. I've watched this clip at least 10 times now, and I still can't work out where this mysterious figure came from, suddenly showing up in Grace's footage. Grace and her husband were staying at a historic hotel in Morocco, a place packed with antique relics and a long, deeply unsettling history. As the two of them made their way toward a hallway door, nothing out of the ordinary was visible ahead of them or reflected in the mirror on the opposite wall. Then Grace took a step forward and something completely unexpected entered the shot.
Side. And then this is going outside. We're now heading to the, oh, there it is. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Out of thin air, a man materializes right in front of her camera. If you pay close attention, there's nobody visible ahead of them or in that mirror just a moment before. Sure, you could argue he simply stepped into frame from another angle as the camera shifted, but for all of that to occur within a fraction of a second seems nearly impossible to explain. What makes the whole thing even harder to wrap your head around is that when Grace swings the camera back, the man is completely gone. Only her husband remains. So where exactly did he come from? And where on earth did he disappear to? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This disturbing footage was captured by a security guard working in the Philippines at a building still under construction. He says the whole ordeal began when he unexpectedly heard the voice of a young girl drifting down from the second floor, which made absolutely no sense given that the building was meant to be completely vacant. Determined to stay cautious and get it all on record, he pulled out his phone, hit record, and headed upstairs to investigate.
3080p 68 fps.
Parang may naglalakad. Wala. Yun. Sa mga na yun.
The moment the guard arrived on the second floor, a faint whisper can be picked up in the audio saying, "Hoy, mag-ingat ka," which roughly translates to, "Hey, be careful." He doesn't appear to register it, drowned out by the sound of his own footsteps echoing through the space. Then, as he pushes further into the darkness, the unmistakable sound of a young girl sobbing reverberates across the empty floor. The guard later recounted that he actually spotted a girl standing in the shadows on the far side of the room, though unfortunately, his camera failed to catch her in that moment. In a follow-up he posted afterward, he shared a photograph and claimed that when he returned the following day to look into the same baffling noises, he finally managed to get an image of the mysterious figure. According to him, she appeared briefly before dissolving back into the darkness, and no matter how thoroughly he searched, she was nowhere to be found. So was this guard genuinely documenting the presence of a ghostly figure haunting that unfinished building? Or could it have simply been a couple using the place as a hideout, stirring up noise to throw him off their trail? Whichever way you look at it, the whole thing is seriously unsettling. What's your take on what actually went down here? A cabin crew member is filming a behind-the-scenes look at his day-to-day routine aboard an aircraft. He works as part of a cleaning team, and his primary responsibility is tidying up planes shortly after they touch down. Most of his shifts happen after dark, particularly on the larger jets that tend to accumulate the most mess. But on one particular night, he makes an unusual decision. Instead of moving on once he finishes cleaning, he chooses to stick around. Normally, someone in his position would head straight to the next aircraft, but since the job was wrapped up and no one was scheduled to board for some time, he lingers, just for the thrill of it. What he expected to be a bit of harmless fun, however, turns out to be anything but, because while he's tucked away at the rear of the plane, this is what gets captured on camera.
I know I'm not dumb enough to lift those shades up because I got my flash on in here. They gonna catch my ass if they see it. ain't gonna lie to y'all though, it's mad cold in here. And it's dark. I mean, I know it doesn't look that dark on the camera, but it's dark. Let's go! Let's go! Right, sitting on the back of the plane. Y'all probably think I'm insane. Probably think I'm doing this for fame. Probably think I'm doing this for fame.
Startled and confused, he makes his way over to investigate, only to find absolutely nobody there. A seatbelt had suddenly launched itself outward into the aisle in one sharp, abrupt movement, with no one seated anywhere near it. It snapped out as though an impatient passenger had just unbuckled and stood up to leave. Whatever caused it was enough to terrify him completely, sending him scrambling back to his spot at the rear of the cabin. He ends up waiting there for hours before crew members eventually discover him still on board. The whole ordeal shakes him so deeply that he keeps posting updates about it afterward, repeatedly saying he never should have stayed on that plane. Safe to say, this is one night he won't be forgetting anytime soon. Woman named Kelly, who lives in North Carolina, says her brother Rick has been dealing with paranormal activity inside his house for the past few years.
So my brother has poltergeists. Everywhere he's gone, we've now come to find out it's not attached to the house, it's attached to him.
No, attached to something I have.
Or something he has. That's fine, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're lucky I'm in the car with him. He lives alone and has started to get poltergeists. And the mediums that he had come in said it's because he has something in his possession that's haunted.
Rick has even managed to capture some truly bizarre occurrences on his home security camera. At first, we get what some would call ghostly orbs, which, let's be real, is probably just floating dust. But then a door swings open all by itself, and strangest of all, some kind of dark, shadowy mist appears to drift right through the living room. But did you catch that? There's something even more unsettling hiding in this footage that viewers in the comments were quick to point out, though I'll let Kelly walk you through it.
Insane and made this video so much more freaky. Right when the first orb comes, whether it's dust or not, it doesn't matter. There is a groan. My brother is sleeping. This is very late at night, so...
I've gone ahead and dialed back some of the background noise and bumped the audio up just a touch to help you hear it more clearly. Everything else is completely unaltered, so pay close attention. Rick has also had other unexplained encounters, including a photo he snapped of a mysterious shadow figure that appears to hover in midair above his staircase from time to time. On one particular occasion, Rick hears a door slam hard while he's sitting in his bedroom, so he grabs his phone and starts recording, quietly hoping it might just be his cat Felix causing a little mischief.
Felix! Felix!
Pay attention right before the door slams, because a shadow seems to abruptly materialize in the gap of the door. Now sure, if this were staged, that could easily be a person standing there, but strangely, the shadow appears to have no legs or lower body whatsoever. Fast forward a few months, and Kelly says Rick was simply sitting at home working on his computer when this went down. A deep, dark shadow appears to completely swallow the light as it moves through the hallway, right before a nearby door violently slams shut. It's worth pointing out that Rick has absolutely no desire for fame or public attention because of these videos. He doesn't even run his own TikTok account. And Kelly, who's the one actually posting the footage, has made it equally clear that she has zero interest in turning this into some kind of ghost hunting channel.
Front leader in all things ghost videos. My brother has a few scary videos I thought I'd post. I am not.
I, for one, am perfectly happy being your go-to source for this stuff. Just saying. So what's your take on everything happening inside Rick's home? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. A lone urban explorer decided to check out a long-abandoned psychiatric facility in Norwich, Connecticut, a location that had spent decades collecting unsettling stories. He covered every corridor by himself, captured it all on camera, and returned home without a single strange moment to report. He assumed that was that. It wasn't. Within a matter of days, his own home had become something unfamiliar and deeply wrong. Shaken and unable to find any logical explanation, he lifted his camera and addressed the quiet directly, asking whatever might be sharing the space to knock once if it was listening.
Knock if you hear me. Knock if you hear me.
The knock arrived without hesitation. What came after was fast and unrelenting.
Is anyone there? What the fuck? What the fuck? Who is out? Oh my god. Oh my goodness, what the fuck? Hello, who is there? Oh my goodness, please stop. What the fuck? Please stop. Please stop. This is my house. Leave. Leave. This is my house. You're not allowed here. Leave. Oh my goodness. Hello. Oh my goodness.
Pounding sounds, disembodied voices, shapes drifting through rooms that had no business being occupied. Then one afternoon, something audible pulled him toward the kitchen, and the moment he raised the camera,
What the fuck?
a dark silhouette was leaning around the corner, then slowly withdrew back into the shadows. The worst part hadn't even happened yet.
The fuck?
Later that night, a pale, featureless face began emerging from the darkness, pressing steadily closer, narrowing the gap between them. He stumbled backward and fled the room. He has never gone back to that house, and no follow-up has ever been shared online. Whatever was dormant inside that asylum, he didn't leave it there. A chilling clip was posted to TikTok by a user going by the name Jangkung Official. In the footage, he and a companion are out searching for eel among the rice paddies. It wasn't long before something completely unexpected stopped them in their tracks. A bizarre apparition materialized right beside them as they made their way through the fields. Keep your eyes open for this one.
Ngajak ngenteni pirang-pirang jam ora gondelan bias. Ye? Lihat lo teh. Bangka we, dian we bangka. Tuh, cetake cah kidulan sing benggane tas iki. Iki urung bajakan. Ini butek. Orang tiga dulu. Enak ndas hiper. Buat hati bu.
As you can see, while the two are wading through the rice paddy, something deeply unsettling comes into view. It appears to be nothing less than a disembodied, floating head. The moment they spot it, both men take off running in sheer terror. So what do you think that thing actually was? Drop your thoughts in the comments. In the following clip you're about to watch, a man who lives alone in a house built in the 1940s has been hearing children laughing and playing in his basement for long enough that it's become a pattern he can no longer rationalize away. And on this particular day, he decides he's done ignoring it. He walks to the basement door, reaches for the old brass doorknob, and calls down the stairs in a firm voice, telling whatever's down there to knock it off. And that's when the footsteps start. Fast, deliberate, coming up the stairs toward the door with no visible body attached to them. So he slams it shut. Then this happens.
I hear you down there. Knock it off. Stop! Stop it! Oh, no.
In paranormal research, child entities that move between floors, respond to commands, and vanish without trace are among the most unnerving categories of domestic haunting. Not because they present as threatening, but because the combination of something innocent sounding and something physically impossible occupying the same space creates a kind of cognitive dissonance that's very hard to shake. A house built in the 40s has had decades of lives move through it, and not all of them finished cleanly. So what do you think? Is there a little girl in that house who never found her way out? Or is something in that basement using the sound of laughter specifically because it knows he won't run from a child? In this next clip, a man is completely alone in his house late at night when something in his basement starts to disturb his peace. For context, whatever that thing is has been keeping him up for days. He says it started as a faint sound, the kind you convince yourself is the house settling or a neighbor's TV bleeding through the walls. But it kept coming back, night after night, and it kept getting louder. He describes it as crying, like a baby wailing, sometimes accompanied by what sounds like someone humming to calm that baby down. To make that stranger, he lives by himself. There's no baby, there's no one else. So he does what a lot of people in his situation probably shouldn't do. He grabs his camera, turns off the lights, and goes to investigate. If you listen carefully, once the clip starts, you'll hear exactly what he's been describing before he even has to explain it. The bells he's hung on the basement door are a detail worth paying attention to too, a folk practice used in some traditions to alert against spirits passing through. Watch.
Guys, something's on the basement. Anybody down there? Hello? Hello? Guys, I have been noticing that at nighttime when I shut the lights off, I don't know if you can hear it. But there has been some crying and somebody humming like calming a baby down. And I live by myself. There's literally nobody here in my house. And I've been noticing that it's been a lot of crying. Lots of crying. Can you guys hear it? I wonder where it's coming from and I'm just curious. Let's check it out. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I command the demons to leave my house immediately. Immediately. I command the demons to leave my house immediately. Whoa. That sounds like it's coming from the basement. Oi. Guys, it looks like it's coming from the basement. Oh, fuck! Holy shit! Holy fuck! That was a big scream. Oh shit! Holy fuck! Oh shit! Holy fuck! Oh, fuck.
Some people believe the crying is consistent with what's described in certain Latin American traditions as the presence of La Llorona, the weeping woman, a spirit believed to wander at night, mourning and crying. Skeptics point to the clean audio quality and argue the sounds are too well timed to be accidental. But that explanation gets harder to hold on to when you hear what comes out of that basement. What do you think is behind that door? Like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video. The bells never rang, and whatever was on the other side of it didn't need a door to make itself known. In this next clip, a static security camera captured what appears to be an entirely ordinary living room. A couch draped with blankets, a leather recliner, a small Christmas tree in the corner. A completely still, empty scene with nobody inside. The footage is time-stamped January 10th of 2026, and for nearly 30 full seconds, not a single thing moves. Nothing shifts, nothing falls. But the audio is a different story entirely. Listen closely. What you just heard in that empty room is a sequence of sounds that starts with what many describe as a high-pitched, frantic scream, something that carries the cadence of "Leave me alone" before collapsing into low, guttural moaning and overlapping wails that fluctuate in pitch and intensity. Near the end, a rasping voice seems to say, "Get out of here." Not one person was in that room. Some viewers think this is residual audio, a paranormal theory suggesting that intense emotional trauma can somehow imprint itself onto a location and replay without warning, like a recording embedded in the walls themselves. Others believe whatever produced those sounds wasn't residual at all, but active, reactive, and fully aware the camera was running. The fact that the room stays completely still while all of that unfolds makes it somehow harder to dismiss, not easier. So what do you think was in there? In the following clip you're about to watch, a man is standing in a dark hallway late at night, looking into his unlit kitchen, and through the faint glow coming through the window, he can just make out a silhouette moving in there, the steady rhythmic sound of a knife on a cutting board filling the silence. He assumes it's his girlfriend, calls out to her casually, asking what she's doing, cooking in the dark. Watch.
Babe, what are you doing in the dark?
The moment the lights come on, the kitchen is completely empty. No one at the counter, no one anywhere in the room, nothing on the cutting board, no explanation for the sound that was filling that space just seconds ago. He switches the lights back off, and she's there again, same spot, same motion, as if the light itself is what she can't exist inside. That specific detail, a presence that appears in darkness and vanishes under light, is one of the more consistently reported phenomena in residual haunting cases, where an energy imprint tied to a location replays the same actions in the same space on its own loop, completely indifferent to whoever is watching. In paranormal research, kitchens are considered particularly susceptible to this kind of residual activity, given the repetitive, emotionally charged nature of the tasks performed in them over years and decades. The same motions, the same sounds, worn so deeply into the fabric of a space that they outlast the person who made them. So what do you think? Is this a loop playing out from someone who used to live in that kitchen, or something that was never quite human to begin with? Now in this next video, a man named Tristan had been dealing with something in his home that wasn't content to stay in one room or limit itself to one kind of disturbance. It moved through the house, it opened things, it threw things, and according to the narration, nothing he tried made any difference. The first incident starts in a narrow hallway at night where he's following his cat with a handheld camera. The cat stops at the end of the hall and crouches down, staring at the gap beneath a closed door. And if you know anything about animals around paranormal activity, you already know that's not a good sign. Then the door handle begins to jiggle violently on its own, twisting up and down with force, before the door swings open entirely. He enters what turns out to be a laundry room, and no one is there. Watch.
Ben là, je suis en train de me battre pour mettre les diagrammes et tous les chiffres passés.
Il faut que mon sommeil puisse partir dans mes rondelles de courant. Je me sers de morceaux de métal de bouclier pour y arriver. Avec un peu de chance, j'arriverai à toucher le fond. Et attacher ça à mon bras cassant. Si jamais j'accroche au fond, le bras cédera avant le corps de Yves et je récupère.
What makes the second clip arguably more unsettling is that it's security camera footage. Static, ambient, no added sound design. Tristan, in a grey hoodie, walks toward a hallway entrance on the far right of the frame when a faint, semi-transparent figure, child-sized, hovering in the doorway, becomes visible for a few seconds before simply disappearing. Then, a wicker basket launches out of that same hallway with enough force to hit the wall. Many viewers watching this reached for the poltergeist label immediately, and it's easy to see why. Poltergeist activity in paranormal research tends to follow a specific pattern, escalating physical disturbances, objects thrown rather than simply moved, and an energy that seems almost deliberate rather than residual. Skeptics argue the basket could have been rigged, but the apparition appearing just before, it is harder to dismiss that easily. If you've been following cases like this, the child-shaped figure is what the comments couldn't let go of. So what exactly was standing in that doorway, and where did it go? In this next clip, a group of friends were all asleep when knocking woke them up at 3 in the morning. 4 heavy impacts, loud enough to pull everyone out of sleep at once. Their first thought was someone messing around outside, the kind of explanation you reach for at 3 in the morning because it's the only one that makes sense. In the morning, they pulled up the CCTV to find their answer, and what they found instead was a small cat sitting outside the closed restaurant, appearing in the frame with no visible entry, no jump, no walk-in, just there between one frame and the next as if it materialized. Watch. But here's what the poster wants you to pay attention to. Listen carefully for the moment the cat leaves, because not long after it disappears from the frame, the knocking starts again. The cat and the knocking are connected in a way that doesn't have a clean explanation, and the poster notes this isn't an isolated incident, that there has been a presence calling out around this location repeatedly, often enough that they're no longer surprised by it, just unsettled. In many Southeast Asian traditions, cats, particularly ones that appear and disappear without obvious explanation, are believed to carry spiritual significance, sometimes acting as vessels for wandering entities, or as indicators of a presence nearby that the human eye can't directly perceive. 3 knocks at 3 in the morning is a combination that carries weight across multiple traditions, widely associated with a deliberate spiritual provocation. So what do you think? Was that cat carrying something with it, or was it simply drawn to the same spot that something else had already claimed? In the following clip you're about to watch, a woman wakes up in the middle of the night to the sound of something moving inside her walk-in closet. And then, from inside that darkness, she hears her husband's voice whispering her name, telling her to come to him. She freezes because her husband is lying right next to her in bed. She picks up her phone and starts filming. Watch.
Babe, come here. What? Come here. Oh my God. Don't look inside.
But the detail from the caption is what reframes everything. She notes that her husband seemed almost calm when he heard the voice. Not startled, not confused, almost as if this wasn't the first time. And she hasn't been able to stop sitting with one specific thought since. What if that voice in the closet really was her husband, trying not to alert whoever was lying next to her? In paranormal research, entities that mimic the voices of loved ones to lure people toward isolated spaces are considered among the most deliberately predatory forms of manifestation, patient, calculated, and deeply aware of exactly which voice will make you move without thinking. So what do you think? Was something occupying that bed, or was something in that closet that already knew her husband's voice well enough to use it? This next video comes from a tattoo studio in Chihuahua, Mexico, where the owner had been receiving security alerts about unexplained movement and noise inside his shop for several days, enough that he says he hadn't been able to sleep. On the night of May 3rd of 2020, he returns to the studio after hours, phone in hand, to show viewers what's been happening. Inside, the room is lined with horror masks, a porcelain doll, and posters. And sitting flat in the middle of the wooden floor is a book titled El Diablo Me Obligó, The Devil Made Me Do It. He jokes about the ghost's creativity in choosing that particular title, then notices the room feels strangely cool despite it being a hot night outside in Chihuahua. He decides to go quiet so the security camera can record. Then his phone's light cuts out completely. Full battery, no explanation. Seconds later, a loud bang echoes through the darkness. Watch the camera sensor react to an unseen presence.
Buenas noches, amigos. Miren, me llegó una alerta de la cámara, ya la mandé a arreglar. Más esperar tantito. Me llegó una alerta de que había movimiento, que hubo ruido y movimiento. Me fijé que dejé la luz prendida de la lámpara que uso para los tatuajes. Nada más de que, como salí temprano, no me fijé que la había dejado prendida. Enfoca. Ahí está. Me llegó una alerta de que había movimiento adentro. Yo pensé que había sido la lámpara, pero no, que hubo movimiento aquí en el baño y hubo movimiento aparte. Yo oí ruidos. Son tiliches. Cabrón. Se cayó un libro, miren. Miren qué título escogió. Creativo, ¿no? El fantasma. Ay, caray. Miren. Está haciendo calor ahorita aquí en Chihuahua. Estuvieron los días frescos, pero ahorita está como sofocadito. Y aquí adentro está como fresco, raro. No sé si hayan prendido el aire o algo, pero se siente una vibra medio rara. Aquí está el espejín. Quiero guardar un poco de silencio, me está grabando la cámara. Okay. Se fue el flash de mi teléfono. Y eso que sí traigo bastante batería. Ay, no mames. Se cerró la puerta. Oigan, nada más voy a apagar y retirarme porque estos días no he podido estar a gusto, la verdad. No hemos podido dormir y miren. Bueno, nada más quería venirles a enseñar un poquito de lo que pasa aquí en el local y de lo que ha sido... Ah, el perro. De lo que ha seguido sucediendo. No ha cambiado mucho, nada más se ha quedado un poco repetitivo, por decirlo así. Bueno, los dejo porque esto se está poniendo mal vibroso aquí adentro. Hasta luego y muchas gracias por ver.
Some viewers pointed to the orb as a classic light anomaly, the kind skeptics attribute to dust or insects, but the trajectory and brightness here don't behave that way. Others connected the book's title directly to the broader Mexican tradition of El Diablo, a figure in folklore associated with mischief, bargains, and making himself known in ways you can't ignore. The combination of the cold spot, the phone cutting out, the door slamming, and then the security footage catching both the orb and the flying book all in one night. That's a pattern, not a coincidence. So what exactly was in that studio with him? In this next clip, a mother's desperate plea for help online reveals a deeply unsettling situation unfolding inside her home. According to her, the paranormal activity started subtly. Her 10-month-old daughter began interacting with things that simply weren't there, allegedly looking up at the doorways and saying hi to invisible figures. Soon after, electronic toys in the house began turning on and going off completely by themselves. But the activity quickly took a dark turn when the toddler began suffering from severe night terrors, waking up at 2 a.m. screaming, "Get away from me!" The mother couldn't figure out what was going on until one afternoon, while she was sitting in her room feeding her baby, a heavy bowl violently flew off a nearby shelf. She immediately checked her indoor security camera to see exactly what had happened. Take a look.
So here's my dog Callie on the couch. Here's Titan on the couch. Sorry if it's a little bit off. Pixelation right here. Then there's pixelation right here, hovering above the baby crib. And then it'll come over and there's pixelation and you could see the actual figure standing here and a hand shove off this bowl. Then as the bowl falls back over here in the baby crib, this demon baby
When she initially shared this story and the footage, many viewers were extremely skeptical. People in the comments were quick to dismiss the activity, claiming the electronic toys were just malfunctioning due to stray radio waves, and that the bowl falling was likely caused by heavy-footed neighbors upstairs shaking the walls. Frustrated by the disbelief and terrified for her child's safety, she decided to share a second, much more detailed piece of footage. She wanted to prove to the skeptics that what was happening in her home was not a mechanical glitch, and it certainly wasn't the neighbors. Watch closely.
Some of you are saying that you cannot see what I'm talking about. It took me a good minute when my sister showed me, but once I seen it, I couldn't unsee it. So just to kind of make it easier for you, because I know you can't really zoom in on TikTok, I will repost a shortened version for you so you can see exactly what I'm talking about in both spots.
There is a lot to unpack here. When you look at the sheer force required to throw an object off a shelf like that and pair it with a toddler screaming at unseen figures in the middle of the night, it becomes much harder to blame radio frequencies or thin walls. In the paranormal field, poltergeist activity is notoriously known to center around young children, often draining their raw, developing energy to manifest physical disturbances. However, a child explicitly yelling for an unseen entity to get away suggests something far more intelligent and highly intrusive is lurking in that room. If you look closely at the footage she captured, the way the objects are manipulated seems incredibly deliberate. Are the toys and falling objects just a series of bizarre, explainable coincidences perfectly captured on camera? Or is a dark, unseen presence attaching itself to this young family? I'll let you come up with your own conclusions. This next clip captures a home environment where the boundary between the physical and the unseen appears to have completely dissolved. A resident, already on edge from previous disturbances, decided to document his living room after the atmosphere became noticeably heavy. While electrical flickers are often dismissed as faulty wiring, what occurs in this footage suggests a level of mechanical manipulation that is far more difficult to explain away. The setting is a standard entryway, but the activity is anything but routine. Take a look.
Try to see if that thing was shut.
Oh
my god.
No, baby, I'm not going over there. This is too much.
How the
for me
fuck
right
is that
now.
motherfucker turning on? There's a light switch really flickering.
These things are really fucking with us like this right now.
Baby, come on, hold on, wait a minute, wait a
I'm
minute.
trying not to show my fear, but this is really fucking freaking
Wait a minute,
me
baby.
out.
How the fuck is that motherfucker like fucking? Wait a minute. Oh shit! Jesus fucking Christ! What was that, baby? What was that? Hold on, baby. Hold on. Wait a minute. Is that the fucking? Baby, is that the umbrella? You. Baby, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. How the fuck is the umbrella?
I'm not scared. I'm not gonna fucking act scared of these fucking things. I'm
Baby,
so tired of this.
The umbrella goes over there.
Yeah, it was over there.
Hold on. Let me check. Hold on. Stay here. Hold on. Stay here. Stay here. The umbrella goes right here, don't it? What the fuck?
Baby, I'm so done with this.
What the fuck was that? What was?
Oh fuck.
Baby, come on. Hey, wait a minute.
No,
Wait a
this
minute.
is just getting
Wait a minute.
ridiculous.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Leave us alone.
Hey, who goes out there? What the fuck? Baby, come on. No. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. How the fuck is that motherfucker trying? Whoa, shit. Hold on. Wait a minute. Baby, hold on.
Go away.
Wait a minute. Here, come here. Shut that light off real quick. Shut that light off.
Fucking go away.
Shut that light off. Oh my god.
Fucking leave us alone.
Hold on, baby. How the fuck is that motherfucker turning on? Like, there's no fucking way.
Leave us alone.
That motherfucker's just literally turning
This is
on
so
like
fucked
that.
up, baby. I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
That motherfucker, baby. How?
I gotta
Why
leave
in the
now.
right state of mind do
This
you
is
have
so
energy
fucking
to shut
ridiculous, dude.
lights off? You know, and fucking come on, baby. We gotta go to the room. Hold on.
Come on. I'm going to the bed. I can't do this no more. This is fucking so fucked up.
Baby, hold on. You gotta hold me tight.
You gotta get.
Baby.
You gotta get this shit out of here, baby.
We gotta try to. Baby, I don't fucking know how the fuck to do this. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Baby, it don't feel right in here. I feel
How the
like
fuck is that
there's
light turning on like that?
weird shit in here right now. It's so fucking
Hey,
cold in here too.
whoever's in
Fuck,
here,
dude.
whoever's in here, stop the switching.
Go away!
Stop the switching.
Get out of our fucking house!
Stop.
Baby, I'm going in the bedroom.
Stop.
I gotta go to the bedroom.
Wait a minute.
What makes this footage particularly peculiar is the light switch itself. If you look closely, you can see the physical toggle snapping up and down as if moved by an invisible finger. This isn't just a bulb failing, it's a manual interaction with the home's infrastructure. The escalation continues moments later when the man notices an umbrella lying in the middle of the floor. In paranormal research, this combination of electrical interference and the displacement of heavy objects is often indicative of a high-energy poltergeist. These manifestations are known to target specific areas of a home using localized energy to exert physical force on the environment. The resident's verbal reaction grounds the fear. He isn't just witnessing a glitch, he's watching his home be manipulated in real time. Is this a case of extreme electrical surges affecting mechanical switches, or is there an entity in the house making its presence undeniably known? I'll let you come up with your own conclusions. In this next clip, we're following a guy named Jorge who was just trying to have a chill night at home. They say you shouldn't watch horror movies alone, mostly because your brain starts playing tricks on you, but for Jorge, the real scare wasn't on the screen. It was happening right behind his desk. While he was deep into a video, he noticed his bedroom curtains starting to sway. We're not talking about a gentle nudge from a breeze. They were moving with a heavy, deliberate motion. Jorge was quick to point out that every fan in the room was killed and the windows were sealed tight. There was zero airflow, yet the fabric was acting like it was being pulled by an invisible hand. Hoping to catch a prankster, or maybe just find a logical explanation that would let him sleep, he finally worked up the nerve to look down at the street below.
So I'm just chilling in my room. The fans are on.
when I was just watching this scary ass video, shadow figure just standing outside, like on the street, and just moved. I have no idea where my curtains are moving. Like, see, none of them were moving. Look outside. Looks like right there. That's a street lamp, but what is that underneath it? Cause that wasn't there 10 minutes ago, so I have no idea right now.
Standing directly under the pool of a flickering street lamp was a dark, stationary silhouette. It wasn't a neighbor out for a walk or a random passerby. This figure was perfectly still, seemingly staring up at his window with an eerie, unblinking intensity. Jorge noted that the street was completely empty just 10 minutes prior, making this figure's sudden appearance feel very intentional. In paranormal circles, this is often labeled as a watcher. These entities are frequently reported in conjunction with physical disturbances, like those moving curtains, suggesting they're capable of interacting with the environment from a distance. Whether this was a literal prowler or something much more spectral, the absolute stillness of that figure is enough to make anyone double-check their locks. This next clip starts off innocently enough, tapping into a childhood classic that quickly descends into a paranormal nightmare. A father is playing a seemingly harmless game of hide and seek with his young daughter, Ariana. But right from the start, there's a red flag. She tells him she isn't playing alone. She's hiding with her imaginary friend, Mabel. The father brushes it off, agreeing to be the seeker. He begins his count to 10, but before he can even finish, the lights in the house abruptly shut off. Armed only with a flashlight, he begins his search, navigating through the dark, silent house. As he reaches the top of a staircase, the silence is broken by a heavy thud, and a red ball inexplicably bounces down the steps toward him.
Ariana, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm playing hide and seek.
With who?
My friend Mabel.
Oh, okay. Would you want to play hide and seek with me?
Sure.
Okay, now you can play with the real person, so I'm going to actually look for you, and I'm going to do all the counting, okay?
Alright.
Okay, and you're going to be the one hiding.
Alright.
Okay, ready? I'm going to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What? Turn off the lights, cheating. There we go. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here I go. Better be in a good spot. Where are you? Ariana, could you be in the closet? Gotcha! Ariana? 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 Ah, I see you behind the dresser. Ariana?
You found me!
Oh, what?
Did Mabel tell you where I was?
What? Let's get out of here. Come here. Where are you? I see you right in the dresser. Yeah?
You found me!
Oh, what?
Did Mabel tell you where I was?
What? Let's get out of here.
In paranormal research, entities often attach themselves to children, appearing as imaginary friends because kids are incredibly receptive and easy to manipulate. The fact that the lights went out simultaneously and the ball moved independently proves Mabel isn't a figment of Ariana's imagination. She's a physical entity with enough energy to manipulate the environment. But it's Ariana's final question that confirms the true horror. The entity wasn't just hiding with her, it was actively communicating with her, blurring the line between a harmless game and a sinister attachment. The father's immediate panicked reaction to grab his daughter and flee the room is the only correct response when you realize your child's playmate isn't from this world. In this next clip, we look at the infamous Clune Park estate in Port Glasgow, a decaying, nearly entirely abandoned complex of 430 flats that locals refer to as Scotland's Chernobyl. The creator is filming the desolate, pitch-black exterior of the tenement blocks at night, a place where no one should be wandering alone. But as the camera pans up the grim facade, it locks onto a single window on an upper floor. Inside, illuminated against the absolute blackness of the gutted room, is a pale, static shape.
Just watch this.
Isn't it? Future in hand.
430 abandoned flats, and there is something in the window.
Open. Yo. You see movement then? Move the light. Yo. Yo. The fuck is that? Yo.
Now, here's where the reality of the location makes the footage even creepier. Locals in the comments of the post didn't call it a hoax, they all pretty much validated the dread. People who have accidentally driven through the estate at night report seeing the exact same thing, unexplainable figures standing at the windows of flats that have been dead for years. In paranormal theory, a location with this much history of economic collapse, despair, and abandonment can become a residual sink, trapping the heavy energy of the past and replaying it like a broken record. Whether it's the spirit of a former shipyard worker, an urban explorer playing a trick, or one of the few remaining residents keeping a silent watch in the dark, you wouldn't. Catch me walking those streets at night to find out. In this clip you're about to watch, we are stepping onto the grounds of a property that should be a quiet horse farm, but has recently become the center of a series of unexplainable environmental anomalies. This footage comes from a creator known as My Little Equine, whose TikTok feed is normally a peaceful sanctuary for horse lovers. However, she's recently been forced to document a disturbing shift in the atmosphere of her family's compound, a shift that began with the most sensitive residents of the farm. The first red flag comes from the behavior of her dog, Josie. In the world of paranormal research, animals are often considered intuitive barometers because they possess a sensory range that far exceeds our own, especially when it comes to detecting fluctuations in electromagnetic fields. In this first piece of evidence, Josie is captured in a state of high alert that reportedly lasted for hours.
So, I'm recording this just in the off chance that no one believes me. Maybe I can catch it. And by the way, I have a freaking cemetery in my front yard, which probably doesn't help my cause, but I was just inside. I'm by myself with my dog. She's up in that room upstairs. You can literally hear her working from here. Has me really freaked out. Josie? Josie? Yeah, she's just been staring at that, and then she started barking, and she growled, and when she growled, I kind of like booked it. I don't really know, like, that's usually like her stance while she's waiting for me to come home, and I'm just like, is she waiting for someone to walk out of that closet? Like,
As you can see, Josie isn't just barking at a random noise or a passing critter. She is locked onto a specific closet, growling and pacing with a level of intensity that suggests a physical threat is lurking just behind the door. The creator eventually worked up the nerve to check the closet herself, and while that footage isn't shown here, she confirmed that it was completely empty. No intruders, no pests, just a void that her dog refused to ignore. When a dog growls at an empty space for an extended period, it suggests a localized, persistent presence that is actively radiating an energy the animal finds threatening. There's a private family cemetery located right on the grounds that hold her own grandparents. While a private burial ground is a deeply personal and sacred space, in the world of the supernatural, these sites can act as permanent anchors for spiritual energy. She believes the weird things she's been noticing are directly tied to the presence of this cemetery. This leads us into the second, and arguably more bizarre, development on the property. In April 2025, a group of cows from a neighboring area began to show up at the compound every single day, and their behavior was anything but routine.
see, this is what I'm talking about. They literally just come and hang out here all the time now. It's a newer development. Like, why? They just kind of come and really breathe around this area. And they just kind of will freeze and won't move. So, yeah. What's up?
Instead of grazing or wandering as cattle usually do, these cows gather in a tight, deliberate formation directly around the cemetery. They don't just stand there, they freeze, remaining perfectly still for long periods while emitting strange, low-frequency noises that the creator describes as unlike anything she's heard from cattle before. In the comments, many viewers have dubbed this summoning behavior. From a grounded perspective, you could argue that the cows are simply attracted to a specific type of grass or a mineral deposit near the fresh dirt of the graves. However, the logic pivot here is the ritualistic nature of the gathering. Herd animals typically only cluster like this when they are under threat from a predator, yet there is no predator in sight. They are focused entirely on the burial site. In many cultures, cattle are seen as highly spiritual animals, capable of sensing thin places, areas where the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds is particularly porous. The escalation on the compound doesn't just affect the family and their livestock, it has begun to impact outsiders who step onto the property. In this next clip, the atmosphere at the farm reaches a peak of tension during a routine food delivery. It's late at night, and as the delivery driver pulls into the driveway, the cows have returned, but their behavior has taken on a much darker, more aggressive tone under the cover of darkness.
Oh my god. Hi.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. See, this is what I'm talking about. Every freaking night, Like, even at night, they even come and hang out here, and they just like stand and like. Are you for real right now?
The cows are once again gathered in a perfect, eerie circle around the family cemetery. But this time, they aren't just standing in a frozen vigil, they are emitting guttural, distorted vocalizations that sound nothing like a typical herd. The delivery driver was so scared by the sight and the sound of the animals that he was too terrified to walk back to his car alone, forcing the creator to walk with him to ensure he made it out safely. Skeptics often claim that livestock might huddle together for warmth or safety, but animal behaviorists who weighed in on the footage noted that cows simply do not sound like this. The frequency of the moaning is unnaturally low and rhythmic. In paranormal theory, this is often described as infrasound manipulation. Some believe that high-intensity hauntings or thin places can generate low-frequency waves that physically affect the vocal cords of animals, causing them to emit sounds that are completely outside their natural range. This leads us into the fourth piece of evidence, where the activity seems to have moved from the interior of the house directly to the source of the unrest. Earlier, we saw Josie obsessed with a closet inside the home, but as the summoning behavior of the cows continued at the grave sites, Josie's focus shifted.
Josie. Josie, what's going on?
The dog is no longer barking at the house. She is now standing at the edge of the cemetery, completely still, staring into the empty space between the crosses. She isn't growling anymore. She is in a state of hyperfixation. In the study of hauntings, this transition is significant. It suggests that the entity or energy that was once visiting the house has now fully manifested at its anchor point, the cemetery. Dogs are known to track movement that the human eye can't perceive, and Josie's silent, intense stare suggests she is watching something move through the graveyard, something that the cows are also acknowledging with their nightly rituals. This final piece of evidence brings the entire timeline into a terrifying focus. While we have seen the animals reacting to an invisible force for weeks, the creator discovered that her security system actually captured the entity itself on the same day the delivery man came to her house. In paranormal theory, shadow people are often described as dense, interdimensional entities that lack a human form but possess a distinct, heavy mass. The fact that it triggered a physical motion sensor is the ultimate proof. A camera glitch or a trick of the light doesn't trip a sensor, a physical body does. This suggests that the summoning behavior we saw from the cows wasn't just a strange animal quirk. They were acknowledging the arrival of a manifestation that has now gained enough physical density to interact with the property's security system. When you tie this back to the private family cemetery, a more creative, albeit darker, picture begins to emerge. In some folklore, certain burial sites are guarded by grims or watchers, entities that are either tethered to the souls of the deceased or drawn to the site of the dead to act as a territorial boundary. This shadow figure seems to be the source of the property-wide unrest. It started in the closet, moved to the graves, and is now patrolling the grounds. The animals aren't just acting weird, they are reacting to a shift in the hierarchy of the land. So, what do you think? Is this a guardian spirit protecting the ancestors, or something much more ancient that has claimed the cemetery as its own? I'll let you come up with your own conclusions. In this next clip, we witness what happens when a subtle haunting rapidly escalates into a full-blown, violent infestation. Most people set up indoor security cameras to give themselves a little peace of mind while they're away from home. But for homeowner Troy Legault, those cameras ended up capturing the exact opposite of peace. The timeline of the activity in this house is what makes it so deeply unsettling. It shows a clear progression of an entity testing its boundaries and gaining strength. This first clip begins with a false sense of security, showing the dining room while the house is completely empty. Out of nowhere, the ceiling fan suddenly turns itself on, spinning with incredible speed before abruptly stopping. If you watch the light attached to the fan, it actually switches on and off exactly as the blades come to a halt, which is a massive red flag for a deliberate manipulation of the electrical current.
What is going on in my house when I'm not home?
As if the fan wasn't enough, look at the background of the shot. A closet door slowly creaks open and clicks shut entirely on its own, repeating the motion several times. If you listen closely to the raw audio, you can even hear a faint growling and a rhythmic knocking coming from that area. In paranormal research, entities often start with these smaller, glitchy movements to test the waters and build up kinetic energy. Whatever invaded Troy's home quickly realized it was being watched, and the physical manifestations only grew stronger from there. The next day, that same closet door continued to act up, but the entity began interacting with much heavier objects to prove its presence.
It's happening again.
You can see the tablecloth being noticeably tugged by an invisible force, but the real kicker is the heavy wooden dining bench. It gets dragged across the floor with a loud, jarring scrape, almost as if whatever that entity is wanted to pull the bench into the closet. Moving solid wood takes a significant amount of energy, proving that this is no longer just a passive, residual spirit replaying a past event. This is an active, intelligent presence. On a separate day, the focus shifts from empty rooms to the people living inside them. Troy's son is just trying to distract himself and regain some sense of normalcy by playing video games. But the entity decides to make it completely clear that the family is no longer welcome there. As objects start shifting and moving around him once again, the boy finally reaches his breaking point. He drops his controller and gets the hell out of there, realizing that even in the middle of a gaming session, he's being hunted.
Daddy? Daddy, it's happening again. Daddy? Daddy? I don't like this. Daddy, I don't like this. Daddy?
While moving furniture is terrifying, coming face to face with the entity is a completely different level of nightmare. In this next piece of evidence, the man's son is hanging out in his room when that same problematic closet door slowly swings open. But this time, it isn't just an invisible force. According to the family, the son actually saw a distinct, terrifying face peering back at him from the pitch black space inside the closet. His blood-curdling scream as he bolts downstairs in absolute terror tells you everything you need to know about what was looking at him from the dark.
Ah! Hello! Mama! Mama! Mama!
At this point, the house is an absolute powder keg. When you look at this specific pattern of escalation, it raises a terrifying question. What exactly is living in this home? Activity that starts with electrical interference and subtle movements before rapidly evolving into throwing heavy furniture usually points to a poltergeist. Poltergeists are notoriously noisy and destructive, often feeding off the raw emotional energy and stress of the people living in the home, especially teenagers, who act like a biological battery for the activity. However, there is a logic pivot here that points to something much more sinister. Manifesting a physical face to intentionally terrify a child is a deeply predatory behavior. Many investigators would look at this timeline and classify it as a demonic infestation rather than a simple haunting. These dark entities systematically break down a family's psychological state. They start by making you question your sanity with moving objects, exhaust you with fear, and then finally reveal themselves to feed off the resulting peak terror. Is this a chaotic poltergeist feeding off the stress of the household? Or has Troy Legault's home become a site of an active, intelligent, demonic infestation? I'll let you come up with your own conclusions. In the following clip you're about to watch, we get a chilling look at why healthcare workers often joke about avoiding certain shifts. This footage was captured by Camila Torres, a nurse working at a nursing home, back in 2019 when a resident asked her to record a cleansing of what the staff called the death room. This specific room was notorious. Patients placed there would have sudden medical episodes or pass away, and the heavy cold energy was so intense that the facility eventually stopped placing patients inside it altogether. As the resident performs her prayer and wafts her hands outside the doorway, pay close attention to the rosary hanging on her hand.
Heavenly Father, I ask for your divine presence to fill this space. May your light shine brightly through every room, cleansing this home of any negativity, fear, or unrest. Let peace dwell in every corner, and love be the foundation of every wall. Bless this home with your protection, surrounding it with your angels, and shielding it from harm and evil. May every door be a passage to your grace, and every window open to your blessings. In Jesus' name.
Skeptics might write this off as a simple draft from a nearby vent, but a heavy beaded rosary doesn't just flutter like a piece of paper, it physically jumps as if tugged by an invisible hand. In paranormal theory, religious artifacts are often focal points for spiritual energy, and an entity occupying a space associated with so much trauma would naturally react aggressively to a cleansing. When a room accumulates so much transition and grief, it can easily become a magnet for something far more active that doesn't want to be evicted. But what do you think happened here? I'll leave you to be the judge. This next clip captures what should have been a warm, wholesome family gathering. A father is sitting on the couch playing the guitar while his family happily sings along. It's a beautiful, intimate moment, but if you look carefully at the open window just behind his shoulder, you'll catch a detail that completely ruins the cozy vibe. In the upper portion of the dark window frame, a pale, face-like shape appears to peek into the room, silently observing the performance before vanishing back into the pitch-black night.
Cuando me miraba esos tus ojos, cuando me miraba esos tus ojos, yo pues pensaba que me querías, yo pues pensaba que me amabas. Vino desde Perú acá, Chile, vamos a hacer una llamada. Esos dos ojos tienen la culpa, esos dos ojos tienen la culpa de haberme mirado sin conocernos bien, de haberme mirado sin conocernos bien. Cuando me besaban esos tus labios, cuando me besaron esos tus labios, yo pues pensaba que tú me amabas, yo pues pensaba.
the chilling footage has left many convinced of its supernatural origin, with the creator herself agreeing, stating, "Si es un fantasma," which translates to, "Yes, it is a ghost." So, what exactly are we looking at, and why is it lurking there? In paranormal theory, spirits are often drawn to high vibration, positive human energy like music, laughter, and family bonding. Rather than a malicious presence, this could be an earthbound spirit, perhaps a deceased relative or a former occupant of the home attracted to the warmth of the song. It appears to be acting as a silent spectator, temporarily drawing enough kinetic energy from the group's collective joy to make its fleeting, pale form visible in the darkness, simply wanting to feel a connection to the living world once again. So, what do you think? Was this a loving ancestor pausing to enjoy a family melody, or is something more sinister watching from the shadows of the backyard? In this next clip, we follow the story of a mother named Sam, who for a long time had a persistent, unsettling feeling that she was being watched in her own home. She could never quite put her finger on what was causing the dread, until she accidentally recorded her twin boys playing and watched the footage back. While filming her toddlers running into a bedroom, a distinct, disembodied woman's voice can be heard over the audio, whispering a chilling, "Shh, quiet."
¿Qué pasó? ¿Quién está en el cuarto?
Sam confirmed she was completely alone in the house with only her young children at the time, leaving no logical explanation for who could have whispered the warning. In paranormal research, this is a classic example of an electronic voice phenomenon, or EVP. Entities often draw upon the high vibration, chaotic kinetic energy of playing children to manipulate the airwaves and make themselves heard. But why tell the boys to be quiet? Some investigators suggest that domestic spirits can become highly territorial, occasionally falling back into old disciplinary habits, as if they still run the household. Others fear a more deceptive entity, trying to hush the kids to avoid being fully discovered by the mother. Was this the voice of a lingering, spectral guardian watching over the boys? Or is there a silent tenant in this home trying to keep its presence a secret? I'll let you be the judge. In this next clip, we witness what happens when a haunting refuses to remain isolated to just one member of a household. This footage was uploaded by a terrified husband, but the camera is actually being held by his wife. Just a few days prior, he had a terrifying run-in with what he calls a knocking ghost while he was home alone. And then 3 later, the exact same phenomenon returned, proving that whatever is inhabiting their property has no intention of leaving. The activity actually began before she even had a chance to grab her phone, which is why the family dogs are already shown incredibly on edge, growling and pacing anxiously near the door. Realizing that the entity had returned, she quickly started recording to capture undeniable proof.
Okay, it just happened again and the dogs are freaked out. Get it. David, come over here. Get it. You be right there. Something opens that fucking door, you need to get him. Oh my god, I don't know if it's gonna happen again. It just fucking happened again. Move, 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 move! There's fucking nobody there! The dog stopped fucking barking now. Davey's freaking the fuck out by the door though. What is it? There's nobody out there. open the fucking door anymore.
As you can hear, she barely has time to set the scene before a series of violent, heavy knocks rattle the door leading outside, sending the dogs into a barking frenzy. The sheer force of the bangs suggests a physical presence right on the other side of the glass, yet the porch is completely empty. Whatever was demanding to be let in was entirely unseen, but its ability to physically rattle the frame of the house is undeniable. It didn't end there. On a separate day, the husband captured another occurrence, proving that the disturbance wasn't just a fleeting one-time anomaly. The knocking has become a relentless daily ordeal for the couple, slowly wearing down their peace of mind in their own home. It seems to happen at any hour, completely unprovoked, turning their sanctuary into a psychological pressure cooker.
Here. Happens all the time.
As the heavy rhythmic knocks rattle the door once again, the husband immediately steps up to investigate, determined to find a logical explanation. He walks straight to the glass pane, slides the lock, and throws the door open to catch the culprit in the act. But just like before, the back porch is completely empty. There are no neighborhood pranksters sprinting away, and no physical explanation for the loud pounding that occurred just a second prior. The absolute dead stillness of the yard only makes the noise more unsettling, proving that whatever is demanding to be let in doesn't need a physical body to make its presence felt. It is a bold, broad daylight manifestation that shows this entity is actively testing its boundaries, mocking their attempts to secure the home. But the true source of this terror may lie just beyond the porch, hidden in the thick tree line bordering the property. Desperate for answers, the husband decided to film the pitch black woods behind their house, sensing that something was watching them from the dark. If you look carefully into the shadows near the fence line, you'll see a tall, dark, human-like figure silently lurking among the trees, shifting slightly in the darkness. This unsettling discovery ties all of the family's terrifying experiences together. What if the violent knocking on the door wasn't an isolated trick, but a deliberate attempt by this forest-dwelling entity to gain entry into their home? In paranormal lore, entities that inhabit the woods, often referred to as elementals or territorial nature spirits, can become highly aggressive when humans encroach on their space. This shadow figure might be attempting to establish dominance, using the rhythmic knocking as a form of psychological warfare to break down the couple's sense of security. By wearing down their defenses, it feeds on the resulting fear and anxiety, gaining the energy it needs to manifest even closer to the house. So, what do you think? Is this a malevolent entity trying to claim the home for itself? Or is it a silent sentinel of the woods, warning the family that they are no longer welcome? In this next clip, we travel to the dense, ancient forests of the Appalachian Mountains, a region as famous for its rich natural beauty as it is for its deeply unsettling folklore. The homeowner, a local herbalist who frequently harvests plants and works closely with the surrounding wilderness, began noticing a strange, heavy shift in the atmosphere of her property. Her suspicions were confirmed during the day when her outdoor security camera captured a bizarre, high-speed anomaly in her backyard. If you look carefully at the area right next to the parked camper trailer, a small, pale streak of light shoots across the screen at an impossible velocity. While skeptics might try to write this off as a simple insect flying close to the lens, the trajectory, sudden acceleration, and sheer speed completely rule out a bug or a bird. It behaves like a highly concentrated orb of kinetic energy, darting with deliberate purpose. In paranormal lore, these fast-moving light anomalies are often thought to be scouts, elemental energies, or spiritual manifestations testing the boundaries of human habitats. For an herbalist who regularly interacts with the natural energy of the land, it's highly possible that her work has unwittingly drawn the curiosity of something ancient living deep within the mountain hollows. Determined to find out what was sharing their land, the couple began closely monitoring their backyard security feeds at night. It didn't take long for their vigilance to pay off, but the answer they got was far more terrifying than they ever bargained for. While watching the live feed, they spotted a chilling shape slowly moving through the pitch-black tree line. At first, her husband wonders if it's just a local coyote, but as the entity steps further into the illuminated clearing, the sheer horror of the situation sets in.
Okay, so alarms are going off and the rooster's going nuts. We caught some coyotes in the backyard. What is that?
It's probably that coyote.
Right there. What the heck?
Is that that coyote?
No.
That's not a coyote. That's a fucking person.
Where's the dog? Well, you better go now.
What the fuck, man? What the fuck is that?
I don't know. The rooster's not too happy. Where's the dog? There's the dog. Why is she in her freaking pen? What the? Oh my god. Okay, so it came back. What the hell?
There's Lucy right there.
Yeah, but you see where it's standing?
Yeah, it's looking in the window at you.
It's at our window. What?
It's a good way to get shot in the face.
And the dog's just staring.
So why is the damn dog not barking?
Oh my god.
What is that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What? All right. Go. Do.
Walking upright between the trees is an incredibly tall, pale, and spindly humanoid figure. The proportions are completely off for a normal human, exhibiting elongated limbs and a haunting, gaunt frame that moves with an eerie, calculated grace. The tension peaks when the couple realizes their dog is completely silent and missing from the frame, prompting a frantic realization that they are in immediate danger. What exactly is this creature, and why is it lurking in their yard? In Appalachian cryptid lore, sightings of these pale crawlers or forest-dwelling entities are shockingly common. These beings are believed to be ancient, reclusive dwellers of the deep woods and cave systems, highly sensitive to human presence. It's highly likely this entity was drawn to the property by the herbalist's active engagement with the surrounding forest, viewing her as an intruder in its territory, or perhaps as a source of curiosity. So, was this an ancient resident of the mountains, merely observing the homeowners, or is this pale figure hunting for a way inside? I'll leave you to be the judge.